they'll get this thing kicked off and get going. It's going to be no fist fight.
That's a huge game. It's almost like a civil war.
Get out and be ready!
Good evening, high school football fans. You are watching Friday Night Under the Lights with Cody Chaffins and Mack Poss.
This Friday Night Under the Lights brought to you by Athens First Bank and Trust, Lanier Technical College, by Subway, by Milton Martin Honda, by McDonald's in Cornelia, Clarksville, Clayton, Cleveland, Commerce, Houston, and Brazelton. Badcock and More Home Furnishings, Toccoa. America's Home Place in Toccoa, Athens, and Gainesville.
Hey there, and welcome to our Friday Night Under the Lights preview special. I'm Cody Chaffins, alongside, as always, Mack Poss. And we've got a couple of special guests with us for this half hour as we get you ready for the 2010 high school football season. To my left, Jeff Cochran, sports writer for the Athens Banner Herald. And all the way on the right is Bill Murphy of the Gainesville Times, who writes about high school sports there. And Coach, just glad to be back for another season. We're a week away now.
Well, y'all wanted to have a senior citizen on the set here, so amongst you young guys, I'm just delighted to be here. I'm the main letterman, right? I've lettered about 18 times now.
You'd be the senior of the group, I would definitely say. And as we get ready for this 2010 season, we're going to start off kind of taking a look back at last year. We had two Northeast Georgia teams make that run all the way to the Georgia Dome, and these two guys got to be up close and personal with those runs. Jeff, we'll start with you. You got to be with Clark Central as they went to the Quad A state title game. It was a great run for them last year.
It was a heck of a run. They came into the playoffs second in the region, and after they beat Southwest DeKalb in the second round, they went on a run that just led them right to the Dome. They were at their best at that point, and they cruised right into the Dome. And they unfortunately ran into a really tough Sandy Creek team. But coming into the fourth quarter, they were up 9-7. They had a lead. But Sandy Creek, they just opened the floodgates on them in that fourth quarter. And
that kind of goes to show you that any team can make a run when they get hot at the postseason.
Absolutely. Yeah, as long as you get into the postseason, if you get hot at the right time, you got a chance.
And Bill, your team really wasn't a surprise they made it to the state title game. You predicted that last year on this show, but Gainesville, what a team they had last year.
Yeah, I mean, when you have athletes like Blake Sims and Tyler Jones and a linebacker like A.J. Johnson, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion that you're going to make it deep. Really two different scenarios for teams making it to the Dome. With Clark Central, who kind of that flowery branch formula, they got hot right at just the right time. Gainesville just really cruised through the schedules, winning every game by about 40 or 50 points. And probably the best ending to a high school football game I've ever seen, that state championship game against Peach County.
One of those big decisions, do you go for two? And I'll ask you guys a little bit later who you like to head to the Dome this year. We'll get to that. But we're going to start off, we're going to go classification by classification, starting from A, moving up to Quad A with our Northeast Georgia teams. We're going to start with Class 8A, or Region 8A, in Classification A. Here's a look at the teams. You got Commerce, Prince Avenue Christian, Social Circle, Riverside Military Academy, and George Walton, a pair of GISA teams moving back in, and then Athens Academy, Athens Christian. You also have a few teams playing non-region schedules this year, and Lakeview Academy, Towns County, and Hebron Christian. And Coach, when you look at the new region after reclassification, there's one big thing you don't see, and that's the Wesleyan Wolves. Not going to miss them at all, are they?
Well, they really aren't, and that's a tribute to the Wesleyan Wolves program, of course, Cody. And then when you look, it gives an opportunity for other teams in that region to step in and maybe take that playoff spot, because they had obviously year in and year out occupied that playoff spot. But you got perennial favorite, Commerce Tigers. They're going to always be in the playoffs. These new teams that you mentioned coming in from GISA, George Walton certainly not going to be any kind of school that you can just say, well, they played in the independent league. Very, very strong program there. Riverside Military, while they did come into 8A, they have also been exposed to the public school after having played in the independent school league, so they know what it's all about.
And they definitely do. And Jeff, when you look at it, you kind of see those old powers. Athens Academy and Commerce got to be licking their chops again.
Yeah, I think I really got to look at Athens Academy. They had a really young team last year. It still went 7-4, still made the playoffs like they always do. Most of their teams coming back, I believe they have 17 starters coming back, and they're my favorite to win this region. I think George Walton, I've talked to a lot of coaches in Region 8 Single A. A lot of coaches have told me that George Walton was preparing for this season, building towards this season, so they're not going to be a slouch. And a lot of people have George Walton, if not making a playoff spot, top in the region.
And Bill, when you look at it, you got Riverside Military Academy. They were a AA team when they moved back to the GHSA. Now they're going to go down to single A, and they've made the adjustment fairly well moving over from the other league.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people questioned whether they were going to compete going from GISA all the way up to a AA region. And 2 years in a row making the playoffs, you got to say that they're for real. Now this year they got a new coach with Chris Cotter, but he feels very good about their talent. They're going to be starting a freshman at running back, quarterback, and they got some young wide receivers too. But they're also very good on defense. So I got to say that they're pretty much in the same boat as Commerce. I mean, they'll be one of the favorites to make the playoffs, in my opinion.
We are just getting started on our Friday Night Under the Lights preview special. When we come back, we'll take a look at Region 8 AA, which now includes some big dogs. We'll talk about that coming up next.
Do you suffer from hearing loss? Are you experiencing dizziness or loss of balance? Georgia Hearing Centers in Athens can treat your condition and offer solutions. For over 27 years, our highly trained and board-certified audiologists have been helping patients in Athens and surrounding counties by providing the finest treatment available for hearing loss, dizziness, and balance disorders. For more information, visit our website or call us today and discover why we've been voted Best Hearing Center in Athens 5 years in a row. Georgia Hearing Center, where you can trust what you hear.
The Georgia Center, the University of Georgia's conference center and hotel, is the place to stay when visiting Athens or UGA. Open to all UGA and Athens visitors, the Georgia Center is the ideal location for your next getaway, retreat, conference, meeting, or special event. Offering 200 hotel rooms, 11 suites, and multiple dining options, the Georgia Center has space for meetings, dining, and hotel accommodations all under one roof. Make your hotel reservations today at georgiacenter.uga.edu/hotel. David Austin has been your WNEG-TV representative for Northeast Georgia for the past 26 years. During his time, he has helped hundreds of local businesses with all their advertising and marketing needs. David will be glad to consult with you and show you how WNEG can help expand your customer base and increase sales. Call David at 706-244-9461 and put his experience to work for you. You'll be glad you did.
This is it. The 2010 model year-end clearance is happening right now at Phil Hughes Honda. And it's your best chance to save on the Honda you really want. Choose a new Civic or Accord and take advantage of low 0.9% financing. Plus special pricing and lease offers on nearly every Honda in stock. This is it. The 2010 model year-end clearance at Phil Hughes Honda. On the Atlanta Highway in Athens and online at philhugheshonda.com.
Welcome back to our Friday Night Under the Lights preview special. We're going to move on to Region 8 AA now, which looks a whole lot different this year with reclassification. We'll start with the North Sub-Region. You've got Dawson County, East Hall moving down from AAA, Fannin County, Rabun County, Union County, and Banks County. So all the mountain schools there in the North Sub-Region. And then the South, boy is it loaded. Elbert County, Hart County, and Jackson County all moving down from AAA. Then Jefferson, which has gone undefeated regular seasons the last 2 years, Oglethorpe County, and then the new kids on the block, North Oconee and East Jackson, which have both grown fairly well. And you take a look at these sub-region guys, and it looks really unbalanced. Bill, we'll talk with you about that South sub-region. It's so loaded.
Well, I guess that's what's good about the sub-region setup with the region play-in game is that you can be number 3 on that side. You might lose 4 games in the regular season, but you'll still be in position to make the playoffs. Teams like Hart County and Elbert County, Jefferson, who's gone undefeated for 2 years in a row, they're all going to be scrapping for one of those spots there. So I think it's going to be great. I mean, it's going to be good football to follow.
Having talked to some of the coaches, Jeff, you kind of feel like they're excited and kind of a little disappointed in the way the regions.
I think it's a lot of disappointment because, I mean, you look at, and I can't say I'm a fan of it. I understand the geographic sense of it, but I mean, not a single team from the North Sub-region went to the playoffs last year. I believe there's 5 teams, maybe 6 teams that went to the playoffs from the South Sub-region last year, and I guess only 2 of them are going to get there this year. And you're going to have 2 teams from that North Sub-region that, you know, go to the playoffs that might not be in the actual top 4 of the region. So there's going to be a couple teams that you know, kind of lose out on this whole, you know, this whole reclassification, and some good teams that might have been able to make a run are going to be stuck at home.
Some of the other AAA teams that we saw move down, Coach, Hart County and Elbert County, they aren't strangers to Class AA. Of course, Elbert County winning that state title back in the 90s, but that's definitely going to make a big impact. How do you feel about those teams moving away from that 8 AAA they've been in the last couple of years?
Well, they did it kind of like what Bill was talking about. Based upon their numbers, they were actual AA, and they made the decision that that's where they were going to play. I don't think they were running away, and obviously by the virtue of who they're playing in their non-region schedule, both of them are playing Stevens County. Huge money games there as far as that goes. And we talk about Elbert and we talked about Hart. That game is big regardless of what classification. I think it was classified as one of the 3 top rivalries, in the state and everything. So geographically, yes, the numbers played itself that way, and they decided that's what they wanted to do, and they're there. So the other people, Jefferson, who said it best here, Bill or Jeff one? Jefferson got a great coach staff, great tradition, all those kind of things. I don't think they'll go undefeated this time.
Yeah, you talk about Jackson County football in general, and boy did it change last year. You had Jackson County flying out of the gate, East Jackson making the playoffs, winning a playoff game, and then Jefferson has always been strong. And Jeff, when you look at it, what's been the difference about Jackson County last couple of years?
Something in the water, I guess. I really don't know. I mean, no one saw East Jackson coming last year. I admit I did not have them pegged for playoffs, but they had, just their first 2 years. They had the usual, youth struggles. And last year, Coach Caputo, it really clicked for them. And I think he's got them. I think it all comes down to coaching with them. And Coach Caputo, he's got a good system in place, a good offense in place that he can plug players in. He can make great players out of average players with that kind of system. And he's done that really well, and that's got to be the difference.
And we've all kind of mentioned these crossover games at the end of the year. What that means is the top team in the sub-region A and the top team in sub-region B will play each other for the top spot in the playoffs, and then you've got 3s versus 2s the other 2 ways. And does that kind of level it out a little bit with kind of an imbalanced looking region, Coach, do you think?
Well, they got to play one good game. And all the rest of the games certainly didn't count, but they're in the playoffs. That heightens your emotions of your community and everything, and they got one shot and they go up there, and then all of a sudden they're in the state playoffs just from that. So I think it gives them a chance.
Yeah, we could talk all this stuff about that North sub-region. Any given Friday, you have one of those teams knock off a couple of teams, and then, boy,
exactly,
they could be the sub-region with 3 teams in the playoffs. All right, we're going to take another break on our Friday night Under the Lights preview special. When we come back, we're talking about the new 8 AAA. A lot of changes in there. Gainesville schools moving over, so we'll have that coming up next.
New real fruit smoothies from McCafe have taken center stage at McDonald's. Spun from real fruit in strawberry, banana, and wildberry. Experience the intense and spectacular burst of fruit starting at just $2.29. The simple joy of real fruit smoothies.
Hello, I'm David.
And I'm Michelle.
And it's Saturday Night with David and Michelle right here every Saturday night at 7 o'clock. If you miss it at 7 o'clock,
catch us at 10.
And if you miss us at 10, you can watch us on Sunday at 7. Great country music, great guests. It's all coming your way every Saturday night on WNEG TV, the University of Georgia, right here, Saturday night with David and Michelle. Don't miss it.
Working with schools and businesses throughout Northeast Georgia, WNEG TV needs your help in saying thanks to some exceptional people. We invite you to nominate a special teacher for the Golden Apple Award by logging onto our website, WNEGTV.com. The Golden Apple Award is proudly supported by the University of Georgia and WNEG TV. We are Northeast Georgia.
Challenging times brings us to a point where we look hard and long at what we buy and how we buy it, and we have to use our credit to get what we need. For over 20 years, Badcock has been here to help you with bedding, electronics, appliances, and home furnishings. Our goal is to make you feel right at home. So come see some old friends at Badcock and More. Let us help you, even if you've had some trouble with your credit.